everybody really enjoys working with you two on set. They say you keep the energy up, you keep it fun, you keep it light. How do you manage that, especially for a movie of this scale?
You know, there's two of us, you know, because when he's exhausted, hopefully I have energy. When I'm exhausted, hopefully he's got some energy. But
yeah. We were very Italian American, so we like to create a family atmosphere. We like an atmosphere where everybody feels like they belong and like they're contributing and they're excited and they're free to put everything they have into the work. Yeah. Because it's why we're all here. So we like that atmosphere.
What is it, 64 Marvel characters in this one?
It's a lot.
We can't keep a realistic count.
We have to sit down at some point and count it. Yeah.
How do you even manage it? It's like, how do you herd that many people, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting because it's our third one with Marvel. We know a lot of the actors, and it feels like you get in a rhythm. And you know, as people come in, it's great because they all bring different energy and new energy to the set, and they're all working on scenes that are different in tone, so it can change the mood of the day. Or you know, so it feels like there's a lot of variance as we progress through it. Where we'll work with the Guardians for a few weeks, and then we'll get to half the Avengers for another few weeks, and so it just keeps it exciting for us and fresh.
Where do the Avengers stand coming into this film?
I mean, for us, this story has always been a movement forward from where we left off in Civil War. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the Avengers are deeply divided. They have a seemingly irreconcilable problem. And, you know, unfortunately, that's the moment where the greatest threat they've ever faced comes to them. And it's a bad place for them to be in when that happens. So that
stacks the deck against them.
That's pretty much our jumping off point.
Okay, well, you know, Hemsworth has been so hilarious about not being in Civil War, and then there's this thing with Evans and Thor and the whole thing. So, is that just funny on set? Is there funny tension? Did they joke about it?
You know what? I mean, here's the thing. Not having worked with that character in Civil War, I mean, that gave, as storytellers, we were even more excited to work with him in this film. So Thor has a very, very special arc in this movie that we're really excited about as storytellers and filmmakers. And no, it doesn't really come up that much on set. I mean, it's very professional. We're very dedicated to the work, and I think that Chris is very happy with what's happening now. So.
When this franchise started, it was nearly 10 years ago. So this cast has really grown to love one another. They're like a family. They're really good friends. And some of them said, you know, they get a little distracted and they're just joking with one another or chatting or something. Is there anybody in particular that you're like, all right, come on, let's focus. Let's do this. Come on.
That's a really good question.
I think we answer this the same every time we're asked it. It's probably Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. But then he brings it when he asks.
No, he does. I mean, he's truly one of the most professional guys we've ever worked with. And did I just say that? Just kidding. We have a blast with Anthony.
We love him dearly.
He brings great energy to the set. The crew loves him. The other cast loves him. You know, he really wants to make sure everybody's having a good time. These are hard days, they're long days. Yeah. We're out here in the hot Georgia sun shooting, and it's good when you get to a Thursday or Friday and Mackie shows up on set and he just brings a lot of laughter and a lot of fun with him.
Well, that's the thing you got to remember is these actors, they're entertainers and they're great performers, and they know that like these are hard movies to make, like Joe was saying. So it's like, you know, sort of having a moment of levity, having a moment of fun where everybody can break for a moment and just get a little breath of fresh air. It's important.
And talk about, as a filmmaker, these movies pose different challenges for filmmakers because you've got the people, you've got the two-dimensional, you've got the three-dimensional, but then you've got the green screen, you've got all the post-production, there's so many added elements to these Marvel films. How do you navigate all of that?
It becomes like a second nature, again, after 3 movies. I feel like we're in a rhythm with this, and it really does become a second nature. You start to understand exactly where the VFX need to go in a shot, how you're going to layer it. A lot of times when we're doing work on the script in a room, we lock ourselves away with the writers usually for about 6 to 8 months before we start shooting. We go through every scene line by line, and we make sure we understand what we're all thinking collectively as a group of collaborators, what is happening in the scene, who wants what, how we're going to execute it visually. So we really come to set very prepared.
But I will say it's always fun when you get an actor who hasn't done a lot of this kind of work before, because it's a very different experience. You know, they have to use their imagination more in terms of what's around them and what's happening, and talking to them through that process. I remember on Civil War, it was, or on Winter Soldier rather, it was Robert Redford, you know, is sort of like the virgin to this process. And on this movie, Josh Brolin is really sort of taken to it. This is a brand new experience for him, and I think he's having a lot of fun with the whole, what that gives him as a performer, the visual effects dimension of his character.
Nobody's jaded if they're in that particular situation yet, you know,
Yeah,
because
no,
it's fresh and
yeah,
new
can you
and-
believe your job is new again?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's great, yeah.
Talk to me about the female component in this one, because you've got Brie Larson coming on, you've got Denai, Scarlett was talking about how she's so happy there are more women to balance out all the testosterone. Talk to me about the strong women coming into this movie as well.
Yeah, we have some great female characters in this. Captain Marvel is in it, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch. We have Wakanda is coming in, and there's a whole group of characters that are coming from the Wakandan universe, from
Like
Black
an
Panther
army of
universe.
women.
Yes, I mean, amazingly
Literally, yeah.
strong characters, strong-willed characters, and you know, we have the Guardians, and two of the Guardians are daughters of Thanos. So there's a really strong connection to the main villain of the story. And you know, I think you'll see in the film that that they're very pivotal to the storyline, and I think the arcs are fantastic. So we're really proud of being able to introduce Captain Marvel in this one. So,
Yeah, and it's the culmination of what these have been for years, right? The long-term vision.
Yeah.
that's right.
Everything.
Yes.
So it's really exciting.
It really is. I mean, we say that, you know, if you think of the last 10 years of Marvel movies like a book, this is the end of the book that we're filming right now. So we're excited to bring that to audiences.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about Anthony Mackie, because you were asking who was the funniest interview today, and
Right.
I said Anthony Mackie, you know, hands down. And he was describing being up in the harness for 6 hours straight. He may have been exaggerating, I don't know, but how everybody, you know, basically just laughs at him, like being in so much pain up there. Talk about that process and what is actually happening when Anthony is up in that harness.
Well, I'll tell you today, we were shooting him in that harness on those wires today, and when we were hoisting him up, I said to him, I go, Anthony, you've come a long way since the first time we put you up on wires. Because do you remember when we first got, he was terrified on the wires at the beginning. It was
But to be
very
honest, the
tenuous,
first
yeah.
shot we ever did with him, he was held 30 feet in the air, and we swung
Yeah, we were
him.
swinging him in a big arm. It was really, it was
So
a
it was a
terrifying
little-
shot.
That is terrifying.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
only imagine how he
So,
felt.
but he got his sea legs, you know.
Yeah, but you say his legs have to come up a little
You do a little
higher.
bit. Sometimes to make it work for the camera, we actually have to pull his legs up higher than his head. And so he can be hanging up there for 30, 40 minutes. It's a lot of blood rushing to your head. It's not the most comfortable position to act in. So you'll see in between takes, he'll just let everything go and he'll let his head hang, because he also has to lift his head up to face the camera while he's
strength.
flying.
It takes a lot of core strength.
Yeah, it takes
He's
a lot
got
of core
great core strength.
I told him I hoped he was getting paid handsomely
Yeah.
for doing this, and he said,
yeah.
"Oh, absolutely, don't worry about
Yes.
that."
Yeah, I think they're all doing okay.
But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's with all, like Anthony is a great example, but these actors, they have to go through a lot of physical sort of really rigor in order to accomplish these roles. And it's like Anthony or Paul Bettany as Vision. I mean, that's a really intense makeup job that he has to go into, and he stays in that all day long. Never complains. It's like the actors are very dedicated, and it's not comfortable. So.
Well, and that's experience too,
Yeah.
don't you think? And professionalism.
Yeah.
We've got a good group.
Yeah, and I think they also love what they're doing, so it helps.
Yeah.
You know, it helps you push through the hardship.
I did sense a lot of gratitude among them.
Oh, wow.
Like they're really, you know, they're really grateful for being a part of this and where they are. And yeah, they're long days, but I sensed gratitude.
It's a great journey to go on
Yeah.
together. I mean, it's very rare. I don't think anything really has been done like this in films before, where you're taking all these different characters from different franchises and putting them all together in a single film. And I think they feel the weight of that and how special it is, and that it's a once in a lifetime kind of event for us as directors and for them as actors.
And you seem so calm about doing that.
Yeah, you have to stay calm, because you know, if you let the stress get you, it'll eat you up.
And that's preparation too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Preparation and getting rest when you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.